What's the number one mistake that 80% of new teachers make that causes them burnout, fatigue, stress, and even quitting their jobs? The answer may surprise you, so stay tuned to find out. Hello, Hype Educators. My name is Nikia Hopkins Sullivan, and I am your Hype Educator. And I am coming here today to talk to you about the number one mistake that a lot of new teachers make when they enter the profession just because they didn't know. And then they end up being tired, fatigued. I mean, like they're so burnt out, they are ready to hit the road and quit the profession. So let's talk about those mistakes so that we can avoid them, okay? Here we go. We're going to start off with the 10th mistake, and that is not setting clear boundaries. And yes, that includes with your students, that means your parents, and your colleagues. You want to set clear boundaries. Now, first of all, have that class management on point. I have an ebook about that. So you want to do that with your students. You have to set clear boundaries. They need to understand, okay, Mr. Sullivan may play with you some because we want to have fun, but please understand there are rules and there are expectations to this classroom. Please understand the work ethics I want you to have. Understand my expectations. So you need to make things clear so students understand what it is they can and cannot do in your classroom so that they can be successful. The next is even with your parents, okay? As much as we love our parents, but here's the thing. We don't want them saying, hey, what's your cell phone number? Then you may be nice enough to give it to them and they're calling you at 10 o'clock at night because their child doesn't know what the homework assignment is. You got to set clear boundaries. Please make sure you give office hours. I am available from this time to this time to answer your questions. And make yourself available if you can. Give yourself so many hours that you will be able to respond to them. Because don't forget, when we leave work, we also have a family. We have things we need to tend to, or we just have our own personal life. But I'm also a parent. I've had a child needed to get some clarity on something, but you have to give the teacher grace. And we want our parents to understand that, set those boundaries. Then you even have to set clear boundaries with your colleagues, okay? Make sure they understand what you can and cannot help them with. Now, we are team players. We want to make sure that we are helping wherever we can. Was I looking in the wrong spot for my camera? Okay, here we go. We want to make sure that we are helping wherever we're supposed to. You need to be a team player, but set boundaries because you don't want to do so much that you end up only giving like 50% of yourself when you could have been given 90 to 100. We aim for 100, but you get what I'm saying. All right, so now let's move on to the ninth mistake. Number nine, over planning your lesson plans. Now, where it may seem you're so excited, let's just go there. You're so excited, you're a new teacher, you're like, I'm about to plan this lesson out. But here's the thing, you may over plan to the point where you're wasting time. And I hate saying that. I don't like saying that. But you need to plan your lessons out. Understand how you want to differentiate your lessons. Understand what targets you want to hit. Understand those key points you want to do. But if you over plan it word from word, script from script, that may not work because your students may not go through that lesson the way you really thought it was going to. That lesson may not hit the way you thought it was going to hit, okay? Maybe where you thought you were making something engaging, it wasn't that engaging for this group of students, okay? I teach two blocks, and sometimes what works in one block does not work in the second block. And I have to be ready to pivot, okay? If y'all watch Friends, you know, pivot, but I have to be ready to pivot, okay? And be ready to move and go with it, okay? So, yes, please plan. Don't go in there not planning, but you don't want to over plan. You would be doing so much, and then you'll feel at the end sometimes like, I just wasted my time because you never know which way it's going to go. Sometimes it's that the students need more than what you over planned for. And you're like, whoa, I need to extend this lesson and do even more. So don't over plan, but make sure you have exactly the things that need to be taught, the standards, the target, some of the keywords, vocabulary that you want to hit on, and then kind of see what your students are doing. And you start rolling with them. And that's how you start to make it engaging because you have to start learning their personalities and what's really going to work for your class. All right, time to get to number 8. Okay, please do not ignore self care. Do not ignore self care. Let me tell you, teachers, we are also in the profession, even though we don't get paid like them, but the profession of like doctors, nurses, lawyers, servitude. We want to serve. Teachers, when you look at most teachers, that is one of their main characteristics. They love to serve. And when you feel yourself in a position of servitude, you will often forget to serve yourself and give self care. So you have to make sure. Now, do it in whatever rocks your boat. What is it that makes you happy? Sometimes you may say, I don't have money for all of that. Well, maybe it's a long bubble bath. Maybe it's sitting out on a deck on a porch reading, going to a park. It could be getting your nails done. You may decide to spend some money and do that. Going to get your hair done, spending some time with family and friends. Maybe it's going to get a massage. I mean, myself and two of my colleagues, we went and got massages the other day because we were like, it's time for self care. And we had a good time. So you need to make sure that you do self care. Okay, now let's hit on mistake number 7. Mistake number 7 is avoiding tough conversations. Look, I get it because I am a person who does not like confrontation. I don't like all that getting mad stuff, all that drama. I'm just not here for it. I like being happy. I like staying positive. And that for me is just for the birds. I just don't like it. But I can't avoid it. Okay. You can't avoid it. One thing you need to remember, I don't care if it's your first year being a teacher, you need to be in the mindset of a teacher leader, okay? And teacher leaders will have to have tough conversations. And that may mean a tough conversation with a student. You may have to sit down and really let a student know that you've been watching some of the things that they were doing and how they were being unkind to their friends and how their actions would, how it could be causing their other friends to be hurt or things of that nature. You may have to have a tough conversation with a colleague. As long as you do everything with, this is what I'm big on, respect. I am so big on that. I feel like if I make sure through this conversation that I give you respect throughout the entire thing, I still show love and kindness, but I'm telling you how I feel, then I'm okay. I'm okay with doing it. So I'm just saying, have those tough conversations, or sometimes those problems can linger and they can last. Okay. Have a tough conversation with the person you have an issue with, not with everybody else. Okay. I'm making sure I tell you that, new teachers, because you don't want to be known as the messy teacher. Nobody has time for that. Number 6 is taking everything personally. Please don't take everything personally. I understand this is a new job for you. So you're going into it just wanting to do your best and you're feeling like you're rocking and rolling. Or maybe you're not feeling like you're rocking and rolling, but you don't really want someone to tell you that there's some things that you need to do to improve. This mistake actually can be something that we can gear towards even veteran teachers. We should always be ready for constructive criticism. Please don't take it personally. We are here in this profession, but we always have room to grow because education is always evolving and always growing. So if you're not ready to get constructive feedback and you start to take it personally when someone is saying, I noticed XYZ, then you need to check yourself. Okay, number 5 is not building relationships early enough. If you're starting a brand new school and you're a veteran, this is a moment for you. If you're a brand new teacher, this is a moment for you. You need to start building relationships with your students early. I find that I get the most success out of my students when I build relationships with them. I find that I have less behavior issues when I build relationships with my students. Don't forget to still apply what we talked about earlier. Number 1, proper boundaries, but you need to make sure you're building relationships. Students want to know you care. But don't forget, you also need to build relationships with the staff. Don't walk around talking about they are really snooty up in there. They don't talk to anybody, but maybe you're not talking to anybody. So make sure you're trying to build relationships. Listen, when you're at work, that is your family away from home. You spend a lot of time with these individuals. You want to make sure that you're with a set of individuals that you don't mind being around, okay? So try to build those relationships. Find someone who you connect with, who you notice, okay, they're about like me. Like I'm one of those people, I'm a little corny, I'm a little funny, but I like to get my work done. I love to find people like that. You want to have fun, you're not miserable every day, but you about your business. That's me. Okay. So try to find someone who can relate to you, and also look at somebody who you like, I inspire to be like them, so that you can be around them and grow in this profession by being with them. So, mistake number four is over relying on textbook teaching. Now, we need those textbooks because technology can often mess us up. As great as technology is, we can have some hiccups with technology. So we have to go back to our textbooks. Don't get me twisted. We have to do that, okay? But don't over rely on it because we are in a 21st century type of technology learning system, okay? And you want to make sure that your students are learning the proper technology. Plus, when you take it away, you're going to stop their creativity and their engagement. So try your best not to stop the technology growth and learning, okay? And over relying on textbooks. Let me tell you, the type of kids that we are teaching, they're tech gurus. That is what gets them. So you could do that same assignment with a piece of paper and then you could just put it on a screen. It changes everything just because they saw it digitally. Okay. And then you could find even more engaging games or other platforms for them to help them in their learning, which I actually have a video on some great tech tips and tech platforms and apps to use for reading. But you want to make sure you keep them engaged. You have to know who you are teaching and teach to them. And these are some tech babies, okay? So don't make that mistake. Don't over rely on the textbooks. All right, we're winding down. Oh, wait. Don't forget to subscribe. If you are still with us, you might as well subscribe. It's free. It's free. That's another mistake. That's mistake 3.5. So don't make that mistake, okay? Or is it 2.5? I teach ELA, not math. Here we go. This one right here, I am so big on. Mistake number three is underestimating classroom management. You could think you could walk in there with that smile and say, we're going to do this and do that all you want to. But if you don't have your classroom management on point, now you have taken the biggest risk of having a class of chaos. All it takes is for one student to see, we don't have expectations here. There are no procedures here and rules for me to really have to follow. All it takes is one, and then it could be a domino effect, okay? You want to make sure your classroom management is on point, and that means everything, guys, down to how you line up, how you collect pencils, what do you do when you're finished with your work early, how do we do when we go outside, how do we turn in our homework, how do we answer questions in class. It's all of that. There's literally procedures for everything. You know what? And I have an ebook about it. Look at that. Look at God. I have an ebook about that. So if you need any help with classroom management, all you got to do is click that link below, go into our website, thehypeedu.com. And it has so many, a host of classroom management tips, procedures, everything to help you out. Mistake number two is not asking for help when you need it. As a new teacher, you often fear looking like you're the weird person or just unprepared or you don't know anything. So you don't want to ask. Well, guess what? You may not know it. Okay. You need to ask for help. I was very fortunate my first year as a teacher to have a person who just became my mentor. She just volunteered to be it, honestly. No one assigned her to me. That would have been really great if they did, okay? But they didn't. And she just was kind enough to say, let me help you. She was on my grade level. She probably saw straight through me because when they were using all those acronyms saying RTI and we're doing a 504 or we're doing a This person needs an IEP. I didn't know what they were talking about. And then when they told me what the acronym stood for, I still was like, and what do we do with that? Because you got to remember, I changed careers. I went from being a dance instructor. Now, I could tell you every dance terminology there is, but I went straight from that to becoming a classroom teacher. And it was like a deer in headlocks. And I'm like older than most of the other teachers there. May not look like it, but I am, right? So, either way, okay, my little joke. But I literally was like, I don't understand. And I was not asking. I'm glad she saw straight through me. And once she made herself look welcoming, it made it easier for me to ask her for help. I would go in her classroom and she's like, come in my room. I need you to see what I'm doing for small group. Hey, come in my room. I need you to see what I'm doing because I need to tier this student. In schools, I suggest that you make sure you have somebody for each new teacher who comes into your school. Even if they said they've taught before, you'd be surprised at what knowledge they may not have gained at their last school. So you still want to make sure that they understand your culture, the things that you do in your school, and the new teachers just really need to know what to do before they're getting their teaks or whatever it is that they're getting pretty much evaluated on. Okay, we don't want to wait to that moment to help them. And new teachers, you don't want to wait until someone tells you what you did not do correctly before you ask for help. So ask for help. Okay, mistake number one is trying to do this all alone. Please find you a teacher friend, a teacher boo. You cannot do this alone. There are going to be moments that you just need to count on each other just as an accountability partner because those tasks will be coming. They will be rolling. They won't stop, okay? Just like we have expectations of our students, our admin, they have expectations of us, okay? And you're going to have to keep up with what they need from you as well as what your parents are requesting from you and what your students need from you. So the secret to success is collaboration, finding your community, and asking for help. If you do that, I promise you would do well. So just try to avoid all of those mistakes that I listed, okay? Try to avoid those mistakes and you will do fine. You will be a wonderful teacher. But those are just some of the things you want to avoid. Okay? So listen, please make sure that you have subscribed. Stay tuned for our next video where I'm going to take you inside my classroom and show you how I am teaching my students to write an argumentative essay. The things that I do to keep it popping and keep it engaged and make sure that they are doing it properly so that they will be the best writers in town. Watch, okay? So I got you. And I want us all to make sure that our students thrive, okay? All right, be blessed, stay hype, and see you next time. Bye.